when our Gentile self, as Yeshua described in Matthew, I'm forgetting the chapter, I think it's chapter 6, where he talks about stop worrying about all these things, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what clothes you're going to put on. For all these things after the Gentiles seek. You, however, as a spiritual person, you must think spiritually. In Corinthians, it says, to a spiritual man, all things are spiritual. So what is it to be spiritual? To focus every thought, bring every thought captive to Messiah, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Bring every thought captive to Messiah means whatever is invisible, whatever is intangible, whatever you cannot taste, whatever you cannot touch, that means more to you in a practical sense than it does the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Yes, we have to deal with the 800-pound gorilla in the room. We have to do that. Yahweh tells us to. A man who does not provide for his family is nothing more than an infidel. But there is a way to go about it. In that same chapter I referenced earlier, Yeshua, the Messiah, is speaking, and he tells us how to go about it. He says, put ye first the things of the kingdom of heaven, then all these other things, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, will be taken care of. By focusing on the 800-pound gorilla first, we miss Yahweh. We simply miss him. And no matter how kind we are, no matter how thoughtful we are, whether we realize it or not, we are on the devil's team. Until we conquer the 800-pound gorilla. This is very Taiji-like. We overcome by not straining. Or as the late Bruce Lee said, the art of fighting without fighting. We overcome the 800-pound gorilla by temporarily ignoring him. By focusing on Yahweh first. Look at the testimony of the nation of Israel when they were holy. When they went to battle against whole nations as big as or bigger than they were, and they did not lose a man. You see the king of Moab standing on his wall going, what are they doing? They're supposed to be getting ready to fight, and now they're having a prayer service because it was the Sabbath. They put Yahweh first. Try it. Because I can guarantee you, if you're watching this, most of what you have tried hasn't worked, but partially. And you've been getting by. And if you've been fortunate enough to be a good business person and to amass wealth, you're probably unhappy. It hasn't gained you any happiness or true joy. So, what's missing? Yahweh. Yahweh. Put Yahweh first. That's the first problem. That's what really, really hurts us. The second problem is we lack courage. Those of us who were raised in the Protestant church, we hear the argument, but we want to reject it because we're afraid to step out alone. First off, you're not alone. If Yahweh is with you, you have all the people you need. That's number one. But get yourself an amplified version. If you don't, look it up on the computer. Amplified version. Read Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21 in the amplified version. And notice what the Holy Scriptures have to say about lacking courage. Yahweh dumps those of us who lack courage in the same boat with murderers, whoremongers, Worshippers openly of devil, such as witches and those who practice witchcraft and sorcery, people who practice sodomy, you name the evil, those lacking in courage are dumped in with the same punishment. Wow. Because heretofore we may have never thought that way. There's a lot of thinking we have to adjust. Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. This process of sanctification, becoming holy, is a process of renewing our mind, of changing how we think. Get it in line with how Yahweh thinks. We've been lied to, people. And the people who make it are on the narrow road. With every Christian, with Christian churches on every other corner in this United States of America, what do you think the broad road is? The narrow road is not found in the Christian churches of today or yesterday. The very title, Christianity, when we finally understand that everything depends on words, opens our eyes. This is my introduction once again into this message, which deals with, are the dead really dead? As we go through this message, you're going to see how it relates to so many other doctrinal messages and begins to clear things up. It is truly wonderful. Tie on your thinking cap, sit upright, get your coffee to stay alert, whatever you need, and let's dive in this together and pray for me as I pray for all of us, and pray that Yahweh is guiding us into His whole truth. This is in question and answer format, so I'm going to start with question number 4 today. What is a soul? What is a soul? Now may the Most High of Peace Himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our ruler, Yeshua the Messiah. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23, New King James Version. Notice the holy word, the word of Yahweh, makes a clear distinction between spirit, soul, and body. So understand the first thing, that what a soul isn't. A soul isn't our spirit. Our soul isn't our spirit, according to Yahweh. So if you want to argue with Yahweh, go right ahead. Good luck with that. Listen to the holy word. For the word of the Most High is living and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the division of soul and spirit, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. Piercing even asunder soul and spirit. Soul and spirit. The word of Yahweh separates, divides. Soul, one thing; spirit, another thing. Listen to the word of Yahweh. Now the just shall live by faith, but if anyone draws back, my soul has no pleasure in him. So, Yahweh has a soul. Man has a soul. We were made in the image and likeness of our Creator. He has a soul. We have a soul. Listen to the word of Yahweh. Behold my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom my soul is well pleased. So once again, we see that Yahweh has a soul just like man has a soul. Yeshua said to him, you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Matthew 22, verse 37. We shall love with all of our heart, with all of our soul, and with all of our mind. One of the things that Yahweh loves to do is to be redundant, to get his point across. But he says the same thing with different words. Heart is a part of our soul. Soul is our soul. And our mind is a part of our soul. The soul is the collective will, intellect, and emotions, as emotions are referred to as the heart in Scripture, of the person. Let me repeat that. The soul is the collective will, intellect, and emotions of the person. collectively. That is the soul. There is a clear distinction in the Holy Scriptures made between the soul and the spirit.